The sun cast a golden hue over Privet Drive. But inside number 4, a young boy with untidy black hair and emerald green eyes sat alone in his room. Harry Potter gazed out of his window, watching neighbors greet each other cheerfully while he remained isolated. This summer had been particularly lonely. No letters from his friends, no magical escapades, just the dull routine imposed by his aunt and uncle. As he traced the scar on his forehead, a lightning bolt hidden beneath his messy hair, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The world he belonged to seemed farther away than ever, and an inexplicable tension hung in the air, as if a storm was brewing just beyond the horizon. As evening fell, the household bustled with unusual fervor. Downstairs, his meticulous aunt prepared for an important dinner, and Harry was sternly warned to stay unseen and unheard. Resigned, he returned to his room, only to find he was not alone. Perched nervously on his bed was a small creature with large, tennis ball-sized eyes and bat-like ears. Startled, Harry blinked, wondering if loneliness had conjured an illusion. The creature introduced itself as a house elf, speaking in a high-pitched whisper. It delivered a cryptic warning. Returning to his magical school would place Harry in grave danger. Bewildered, he questioned the mysterious messenger, but the creature seemed torn, its eyes full of worry and a hint of mischief. The air thickened with mystery, and unanswered questions swirled in Harry's mind. Before Harry could glean more information, the house elf sprang into action, dashing out of the room with unexpected agility. Panic welled up as Harry realized the creature intended to sabotage the dinner downstairs. He rushed after it, but it was too late. With a snap of its fingers, the elf sent a beautifully crafted dessert soaring through the air. In the dining room, the confection hovered ominously above the guests, gleaming under the chandelier. Moments later, it plummeted, exploding into a sticky mess that splattered everyone present. Gasps turned to shrieks, and the evening descended into chaos. The guests fled, his uncle's face contorted with rage. In the midst of the uproar, the house elf vanished, leaving Harry to face the severe repercussions. Confined to his room, barred windows and a locked door became his new reality. As night enveloped Privet Drive, Harry contemplated the dire situation, unsure of how he would return to the world that now seemed determined to keep him away. The night was thick with silence as Harry Potter lay awake in his room at the Dursleys, feeling more isolated than ever. Just when hope seemed lost, a faint rattling at his window caught his attention. Peering through the darkness, he was astonished to see his friend Ron Weasley hovering outside in a battered flying car, its headlights dimmed against the inky sky. Accompanied by his twin brothers Fred and George, Ron had come to rescue him from his dreary imprisonment. With hearts pounding, they worked together to retrieve Harry's belongings, the stealthy operation punctuated by the occasional creak of the floorboards. As they hoisted the last of his things into the car, a sudden noise stirred from the house below, threatening to unveil their clandestine mission. With no time to spare, they soared into the star-studded sky, leaving Privet Drive and its troubles far behind. As dawn broke, the enchanted car descended upon a picturesque meadow where a peculiar house stood tall. The dwelling appeared to have been built in stages, with rooms stacked haphazardly atop one another, defying gravity and logic. This was the Burrow, the Weasley family home, a place bursting with charm and enchantment. The moment they landed, a warm-hearted woman with bright eyes and a nurturing smile emerged from the front door. Despite her stern words about the boys' reckless adventure, there was an unmistakable twinkle of relief in her gaze. A petite girl with vivid red hair peeked shyly from behind her mother's skirt, her cheeks flushing as she caught sight of Harry. The air was filled with the aroma of fresh bread and the sound of chickens clucking, enveloping Harry in a sense of belonging he had never felt before. Settling into the Burrow, Harry was captivated by the everyday magic that surrounded him. The kitchen was a whirlwind of animated objects, a scrub brush washing dishes on its own, a clock with hands that indicated each family member's whereabouts, and knitting needles crafting a sweater without human touch. He joined Ron and the twins in the garden for a task they dubbed de-gnoming. Laughter filled the air as they chased small, cheeky creatures around the yard, the gnomes protesting loudly before being playfully tossed over the hedge. Inside, The cozy living room beckoned with cushioned armchairs and a fireplace crackling with emerald flames. That evening, they gathered around a long wooden table laden with a hearty feast. Stories were shared, jokes were told, and amidst the clatter and chatter, Harry felt the warmth of family. Yet, as the stars emerged, a hint of mystery lingered, the promise of new adventures waiting just beyond the horizon. After a joyful morning at the Burrow, where the aroma of Mrs. Weasley's cooking filled the cozy kitchen, Harry Potter joined the Weasley family as they prepared to travel to Diagon Alley for their school supplies. Mr. Weasley excitedly introduced Harry to the magical art of flue powder. With a pinch of sparkling powder in hand, Harry stepped into the warm, crackling fireplace. As emerald flames engulfed him, he clearly said, Diagon Alley. Yet, the swirling vortex of magic had other plans. He stumbled out into a dark, shadowy shop filled with sinister artifacts, Borgin and Burke's in Nocturne Alley. Creeping behind a towering cabinet adorned with eerie masks, Harry overheard a hushed and unsettling conversation between a pale, sharp-featured man and the shopkeeper about items best kept hidden. Heart-pounding, Harry realized he was eavesdropping on Lucius Malfoy discussing dark objects. Would he be discovered in this place, where darkness lingered in every corner? Summoning his courage, Harry slipped out of the gloomy shop and stepped into the bright hustle and bustle of Diagon Alley. The sun bathed the cobblestone streets in golden light, and the air was filled with excited chatter and the whimsical sounds of owls and magical demonstrations. Relieved, he spotted a towering figure with a wild beard, Hagrid, whose eyes crinkled with a warm smile upon seeing him. Together, they navigated the vibrant alley, marveling at displays of enchanted quills and shimmering potions. Soon they found Hermione Granger, her bushy hair unmistakable as she examined a shelf of spellbooks with keen interest. Reunited, the friends shared stories and laughter, their worries momentarily forgotten amidst the magic surrounding them. Yet, amidst the joy, a lingering unease from Harry's misadventure cast a subtle shadow. What secrets had he unwittingly uncovered, and what did they portend for the days ahead? Their next stop was Flourish and Blots, where the crowd overflowed onto the street. Inside, the excitement was palpable. Gilderoy Lockhart, a dazzling man with a gleaming smile and flamboyant robes, was signing copies of his latest book. As Harry tried to blend to the background, Lockhart spotted him and with a flourish pulled him forward. Cameras flashed as Lockhart announced a surprise. He would be teaching at Hogwarts, and Harry would join him on the front page of the Daily Prophet. Embarrassment flushed Harry's cheeks amid the applause. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted as a drawling voice sliced through the crowd. Draco Malfoy, his cold eyes gleaming with disdain, taunted Harry and his friends. Tension escalated when Draco's father, the same man Harry had seen earlier, exchanged icy words with Mr. Weasley. In a blink, a scuffle broke out, books flying as the two men grappled. Amid the chaos, the tall, silver-haired man slipped a worn black diary into the cauldron held by a petite girl with fiery red hair, Ginny Weasley, her attention diverted by the commotion. Unseen and unnoticed, this single act would weave threads of darkness into their lives. What destiny had been set in motion by this secret deed? The sun cast a warm glow over King's Cross Station as families bustled about, owls hooting softly from their cages and trunks clattering on the polished floors. Harry Potter and his best friend Ron Weasley weaved through the crowd, their spirits high as they approached the magical barrier to Platform 9 3/4. With the Hogwarts Express's crimson steam engine just beyond, anticipation filled the air. But as they leaned casually against the barrier, expecting to pass through as usual, they collided with solid brick and stumbled backward. Bewildered, they exchanged glances. Several attempts later, panic began to set in. The clock's hands inched closer to 11, and the realization that they might miss the train tightened its grip. "What do we do now?" Harry whispered urgently. Around them, oblivious muggles hurried by, unaware of their plight. The barrier remained unyielding, and the hustle of the station seemed to mock their desperation. Time was slipping away, and so was their chance to return to Hogwarts. With the train's whistle echoing faintly in the distance, an idea sparked in Ron's eyes. "Dad's car!" he exclaimed. The sky-blue Ford Anglia sat unnoticed in a side street, and before long, they were loading their trunks into the back seat. Heart pounding, Harry watched as Ron tapped the dashboard, and with a jolt, the car lifted off the ground, turning invisible to the world below. They soared above the clouds, the sprawling countryside unfolding beneath them like a giant patchwork quilt. The exhilaration of flight mingled with the worry of being discovered. The invisibility booster sputtered erratically, and occasionally the car flickered into sight, causing birds to scatter in surprise. As the majestic silhouette of Hogwarts Castle appeared on the horizon, relief washed over them. But the journey had taken its toll. The engine groaned, and the car shuddered ominously. "Hold on," Ron shouted, gripping the steering wheel as they descended uncontrollably toward the castle grounds. Their elation turned to terror as the car plummeted directly toward a massive, crooked tree lurking at the edge of the school grounds. Branches like giant arms swung wildly as they crashed into the upper limbs. The tree fought back fiercely, its wooden limbs smashing windows and denting metal. Amid the chaos, the boys grappled to free themselves. Harry grabbed his wand as a branch shattered the windshield, glass spraying like glittering shards. Ron's face was pale as he yelled, "The door! Get out!" They tumbled onto the grass just as the car, battered and groaning, ejected their belongings and sped off into the forbidden forest, leaving them breathless and bruised. Silence settled as they gazed at the remnants of their arrival. The castle loomed in the distance, lights twinkling invitingly. But as they gathered their scattered things, the weight of what they'd just done sank in. Trouble awaited them, but so did their second year at Hogwarts, if they could face the consequences.